The air crackled with tension. Camera flashes punctuated the room, creating a strobe effect that illuminated a scene of high emotion. Journalists jostled for position, their microphones thrust forward like weapons in a battle for access. At the heart of the maelstrom stood Robert De Niro, his face a mask of controlled anger. He had just finished speaking about the January 6th hearings, his voice a low growl as he condemned the violence and the lies that fueled it. Suddenly a voice cut through the hum of the room, sharp and accusing. A bystander, his face contorted in fury, jabbed a finger at De Niro. "You're a traitor!" he spat, his words echoing through the stunned silence. De Niro's eyes narrowed, his gaze locking onto the accuser. For a heartbeat, the room held its breath. The weight of the moment pressed down, heavy and suffocating. The bystander, emboldened by his outburst, continued his tirade, spewing accusations about stolen elections and a rigged system. His words, laced with misinformation and fueled by anger, hung in the air, a stark reminder of the deep divisions that fractured the nation. The tension in the room ratcheted up another notch, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Everyone watched, captivated, as De Niro, his jaw clenched, prepared to respond. "Are you talking to me?" De Niro's voice, low and dangerous, sliced through the tense silence. His words, echoing his iconic line from Taxi Driver, sent a shiver down the spines of those present. The bystander, momentarily taken aback by De Niro's intensity, faltered. He had expected outrage, maybe even fear. He hadn't expected this quiet, controlled menace. De Niro stepped closer, his eyes boring into the man. "You think you know more than I do about this country?" he asked, his voice a husky whisper. "You think you have the right to call me a traitor?" The bystander, his bravado fading in the face of De Niro's fury, stammered a response. He tried to speak, to justify his accusation, but the words caught in his throat. De Niro's presence was overwhelming, his anger a palpable force in the room. He radiated a quiet power, a lifetime of inhabiting characters known for their intensity, now channeled into this single moment. The bystander shrank back, his face pale and his eyes darting around the room, searching for an escape from De Niro's unwavering gaze. He had come armed with anger and misinformation, but he was no match for the righteous fury of a man who had spent his life giving voice to the voiceless. The confrontation, though brief, resonated with a significance that transcended the immediate moment. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of truth in an age of misinformation. The January 6th attack on the Capitol loomed large, a dark cloud hanging over the event. De Niro's presence at the press conference, his voice raised in condemnation of the violence and the lies, was a powerful statement. He was there to remind people of the stakes, of the importance of defending democracy against those who sought to undermine it from within. The bystander's accusation, fueled by the same misinformation and anger that led to the January 6th attack, illustrated the danger of unchecked falsehoods. It highlighted the way in which lies, repeated often enough, can take root in the minds of citizens, twisting their perceptions and fueling their rage. De Niro's response, his controlled fury and unwavering defense of truth, offered a glimmer of hope. It showed that even in the face of such anger and misinformation, there were still those willing to stand up and fight for what was right. The exchange between De Niro and the bystander was a microcosm of a larger battle being waged in the heart of American society. It was a battle for truth, a battle against the insidious creep of misinformation that threatened to erode the very foundations of democracy. In an age where information flowed freely and unchecked through the digital veins of social media, it was becoming increasingly difficult to discern fact from fiction. Algorithms designed to keep users engaged often served as echo chambers, reinforcing existing biases and amplifying extreme voices. The consequences of this were all too real. The January 6th attack was a stark reminder of the power of misinformation to incite violence and undermine democratic institutions. The bystander's accusation, fueled by the same lies that motivated the insurrectionists, illustrated the real-world consequences of online rhetoric. It showed how easily people could be swayed by falsehoods, how quickly anger and resentment could be manipulated for political ends. In this environment, where truth was under constant assault, the role of public figures like De Niro became even more critical. De Niro's response to the bystander was more than just a personal rebuke. It was a call to action, a reminder of the responsibility of public figures to speak truth to power and to challenge misinformation. In an era where trust in institutions was eroding and public discourse was becoming increasingly toxic, the voices of respected figures like Niro carried immense weight. They had a platform, a reach that extended far beyond the confines of any press conference room. Their words had the power to shape public opinion, to influence the national conversation, but with great power comes great responsibility. De Niro's willingness to confront the bystander, to challenge his lies head-on, was a testament to his understanding of this responsibility. He recognized that silence in the face of misinformation was tantamount to complicity. By speaking out, by refusing to let falsehoods stand unchallenged, he was setting an example for others to follow. He was demonstrating the importance of engaging in difficult conversations, of standing up for what is right, even when it is uncomfortable or unpopular. The confrontation at the press conference was a stark reminder of the challenges facing American democracy. It was a call to action for all citizens to be more discerning consumers of information, to think critically about what they read and share online. It highlighted the importance of media literacy, of being able to identify and challenge misinformation. Education, critical thinking, and a healthy dose of skepticism were the most potent weapons in the fight against falsehoods. But it was also a call to action for public figures, for those with a platform and a voice. It was a reminder of their responsibility to use their influence to promote truth, to counter misinformation, and to foster a more civil and informed public discourse. The battle for truth was not one that could be won by any one person or group. It required a collective effort, a commitment from all segments of society to defend the integrity of information and to protect the foundations of democracy.